Come into this place of peace and let its silence heal your spirit. Come into this place of memory, and let its history warm your soul. Come into this place of prophecy and power, and let its vision change your heart. We have come, whether into this ancient house or from afar, we have come to this ancient house of love on this land made sacred by the Massachusetts and other First Nations people. We have come, and it is good. Our chalice lighters this morning, who also get the photo credits, are Roy Harris and Eileen McIntyre. Eileen and Roy.
As we light the chalice of our faith this morning, we offer a few thoughts from our recently completed, but long delayed, group tour of America's Western parklands, from the Grand Canyon and Arches, Bryce and Zion National Parks, to Monument Valley and other spectacular wonders.
Like so many plans of the last 2 years, in 2020, we had to postpone our 10-day Western adventure without any certainty of when or if we would be able to follow through. Finally, though, in late April, we joined a college alumni trip that began by train out of Denver, following the Colorado River southward as it widened into the mighty force that carved the magnificent, colorful rock formations now rising high above its banks. Later, hiking in the Canyonlands and Arches gave us an up-close appreciation of this beauty.
Continuing by bus, we found the friendships deepening as we shared reactions with our fellow passengers from around the nation, equally awed by the majesty of the parklands. As I stood on the south rim at sunrise, I found myself humming from Ferdy Groffe's Grand Canyon Suite. And one hymn, the one we just sang, for the beauty of the earth.
We were sorry to be missing 2 Sundays here at Old Ship, but we continually marveled at the cathedrals of stone all around us, giving us new perspective on our place in this beautiful planet. Home again now, we light this candle for the beauty of the earth.
Thank you for the glimpse into the far west and the beauty of our earth and your words. Thank you. We're going to sing one of Old Ship's favorites as we gather. Come, sing a song with me. It's in your gray hymn book number 346. 346. Good morning, everyone. On this beautiful, not too hot yet, May morning, summer morning in May. Be safe. Welcome to old-timers, newcomers alike, and visitors. I know we have a number of sort of visitors, families of our high school graduates. It's wonderful to have you with us this morning to celebrate our high school seniors, I should say. Everybody's welcome. My name is Reverend Ken Reed Brown. My pronouns are he and him. It's great to see you. If you are new, we look forward to getting to know you. And if you are visiting for the first time this morning and would like to introduce yourself, I would ask, but not require, that you stand and tell us who you are if you're new among us. I should never say not a requirement, but anyway, it's good to see everybody. If you'd like to get to know us, our website is available, oldshipchurch.org. Chat with people after the service, and so on. We look forward to getting to know you. One announcement, not exactly having to do with Old Ship, but this afternoon, the Battle of Grape Island is being celebrated down by the harbor, Hingham Historical Society, and at the conclusion, they thought they'd choose a nice, comfortable, mild day for this. At the conclusion, there will be a song that Rich Jensen has written, and he'll be singing it, and he's accompanied on banjo as it happens. So that will be later on this afternoon, 12:30 to 2:30, they say. Here are the announcements, with the exception of the reminder that food is always welcome in our vestibule basket to be given to the Hingham Food Pantry for those in need. Now, this morning, a song for all ages. I've been singing a lot of old favorites on Sundays. This one we used to sing all the time. A few of you will remember that we have the Garden Song by Dave Mallet, and it seemed to me appropriate today, on the day that we celebrate our high school seniors. They remember it from when they were yay high, and we're going to sing it right now. The chorus is, if you know the rest, you can sing along, but the chorus is printed in your order of worship for safety's sake. Because this is how we grow. We often don't notice we're growing, but it's inch by inch, row by row. And then suddenly we're in a different era of our lives, inch by inch. We'll start with the chorus. Sing along. Words are printed in your program. Inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All it takes is a break and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground. Inch by inch, row by row, some flexy seeds I sow. That one warm there from below, till the rain comes tumbling down. And how many times did we sing this back in the day? Yeah, more hands than we got. Pulling weeds and picking snow, we are made of creams and cones. Feel the need to grow my own, 'cause the time is close at hand. Rain for grain, sun and rain, find my way in nature's pain. Tune my body and my brain to the music of the land. Here we go. Inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All it takes is a rake and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground. Inch by inch, row by row, some bless these seeds I sow. Some warm them from below, till the rain comes tumbling down. Plant the rose both straight and long, seasoned with a prayer and song. Mother Earth will make you strong if you give her love and care. Old crow watching from a tree, kind of hungry I lunch, but in my garden I'm as free as that feather. Keep up there, stand if you like, for the last word. Not required, but you may. Want to hear each other? Here we go. Inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All it takes is a rake and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground. start singing louder, and that's good. Thank you. One of our touchstone songs. Candles of joy, sorrow, and concern. Each Sunday we bring our whole selves to this house of love. And since we bring our whole selves, that means some days the measure of joy and sorrow are one way, some days another. But when we share them, the joy lightens everyone. The sorrow, well, we hold one another in one another's sorrows. If you're on Zoom, you may enter your sorrow or joy or concern into chat, and Dave Aline will read them after we complete our joys and sorrows here in the meeting house. I have four actually to begin with. The first candle, as we have done for many weeks now, too many weeks. It's a great ringtone. That's okay. It's okay. Raise your hand if you've never had that happen to you. Everybody else. This first candle is for peace and for the people of Ukraine. For peace. Second candle for Janice. Janice McPhillips has asked, I think we heard a little bit from her last week, but there, Janice and Brian's daughter, Jennifer, getting married today out west. We light the candle for her. Third candle from Patty Smith. Just learned that Steve, Louisa, Hannah, and Roy, his family, will be in the Philippines for the next 2 years. He started in the Foreign Service in March. We light a candle of gratitude and prayer for their safety and well-being. Then Marianne Bozzi has asked for a candle for her granddaughter, her eldest granddaughter in New Jersey. He's studying for an MSW at Rutgers, but she has just been diagnosed with a serious case of endometriosis and has surgery this week. We pray, we send our prayers to her and all her family. Are there other joys, sorrows, or concerns here in the meeting house? If you'd like to speak, please stand. Diane Jordan in the back. Happy birthday, Michael. Yes. Thank you, Diane. Joys. Michael's birthday yesterday from Diane Jordan to Michael Jordan, and a candle for Keely, one of our seniors, and this afternoon receiving her Girl Scout Gold Award in relation to the project that was inspired by neighboring faiths here at Old Ship. Congratulations, Keely. Really, really well done. Others? Yes, Eileen. Eileen, a candle of joy for the birth of your grandniece and for the story behind it, her sister carrying the child, and we wish everyone well. Thank you. Yes. Whose hand is that? There's so many of you there. Win, go ahead. Candle of joy from Wynn Hodges for this beautiful day and for us able to be here. Thank you, Wynn. Pat.
I have a candle of joy also, and that is for my beloved daughter and I are both celebrating this week because 11 years ago, after multiple operations, she finished her last week of chemotherapy, and it's been 11 years, and she's walking tall and feeling good. Woo-hoo!
Yes, candle of joy celebration for 11 years out from her cancer treatments. Your daughter, Laura, and we celebrate that with you. Thank you, Pat. Judy. Yeah, me too. A candle of joy from Judy Flaherty for the in-person hug with Dan Camino, who's here this morning with Nestor and Cindy, your parents. It's great to see you, Dan, all three of you. Thank you, Judy. Dave, oh, I'm sorry, Deb.
I have a candle of joy and concern. I'll start with concern so I end with joy. Many of you prayed for my brother with Dawson's heart. He's just been diagnosed with COVID. And joy, I have worked with these seniors since they were wee. Raise your hand since you were little. And they are glorious. So for our seniors.
Candle of concern for your brother with COVID. We send our prayers to him, and a candle of joy for the seniors, most of whom are many you taught and have watched grow, including your own Jaden. Yes, Beth. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Beth. Candle of joy for the seniors, but also for Miguel, your exchange student who we've met before. We wish you well in your travels when you return home, Miguel. Daveline, are there any joys, sorrows, or concerns on chat?
Yes, there are. First of all, fond thoughts to Martha Bewick, who's at Beth Israel Hospital, and for her healing. Tino Fernandez has asked for a candle for his sister, Elia, who passed away a week ago. So our condolences to Tino and their family. Michael McPherson asked for a candle of sorrow for the wildfires in his native New Mexico. And Bob Kelly for his granddaughter who will be married in Rhode Island next weekend.
Thank you, Daveline. These candles burn for all of those that you joys, sorrows, concerns, and they burn for any joys or sorrows or concerns deeply felt in our hearts this day, here or afar, yet unspoken in words among us. Our anthem this morning was Christopher chose, especially with our high school seniors in mind. It was written by Mark Burrows for Emma, his daughter, in honor of her high school graduation. I will sing you the stars. And we join a time of meditation and prayer and then shared silence. First, slowing down to feel where we are, who we are with. Grateful to be here with each other, whether in this room or on a screen, with each other, holding one another in our hearts with care, with love. Slowing down to hear better the still small voice within, our heart's voice, divine voice, voice of the cosmos, praying. Oh, praying for peace, praying for the health of our democracy, for human rights, voting rights, reproductive rights, praying for justice. These days, most especially praying for the people of Buffalo, praying for our nation, praying for wisdom in our leaders, that they might help us meet the challenges of our time as we seek together the well-being of all, the flourishing of life on this dear earth, praying for one another, especially this day, holding in our hearts with all good wishes our Old Ship High School seniors for their well-being and health as they enter this next chapter of their lives with our good wishes. And we hold our prayers as we hold one another in a time of renewing silence. Recognition of Old Ship's High School seniors, it says on our program. Many years ago, I expect before those of you who are seniors today were around, so to speak, I shared this story on a similar Sunday. When I was at college, I think freshman, there was an outing club of some sort, and they were inviting folks to go and do some rock climbing. And I thought, great, I like climbing on rocks. Well, what they had in mind was the kind where you hold on to a rope. That somebody is supposedly has a secure anchor at the top, and you're kind of leaning back. So I went, and I kind of hung back, and I was helping out. I like to help out. As others made the trip, it wasn't a large, maybe a dozen people, and I thought maybe I was going to get away without having to climb those rocks. But then somebody, was a big guy, probably a junior, big beard, and he said, "Ken, you haven't gone up yet." Well, there was no choice. So I was harnessed on, whatever. I haven't done this since, so my memory is vague. but I did it that day. I was harnessed up. Somebody was at the top. I couldn't see them. It was over the edge, and making sure I was safe. I found my footholds, my handholds, and I made it to the top. It was something. If I had gone home and or back to the dorm and not done that, I wouldn't have felt great. But it felt great. Now, I'm not encouraging you all to go climb rocks or cliff sides and take physical risks. Some of you may do that sort of thing, but there are risks that you can take in life, and you'll have a sense inside as to when it's the right time to take a risk. And you may succeed, you may not. But here's one really important part of that story. I had help. And if you let others, they will help you, and you can help others too as you journey this next part, in fact, your whole life. So that's a little message, really for all of us, I think, a reminder, myself too. So we're going to give you some gifts and call you up in a moment. We have several gifts. I'll say a little bit about them. Before I do, it's been wonderful to watch you grow up. Some of you I've known right from the beginning. I was only about halfway through my ministry when you were born. Isn't that something? Oh, my goodness. And it's been wonderful to watch you grow and change and become young adults. So here are our gifts. However long or short you were with our congregation and active, these gifts. So we have this book called A Chosen Faith, little essays about Unitarian Universalism, and it comes with a bookmark. I've inscribed them, and a bookmark with our principles and purposes, rainbow bookmark. Second book. So with that, we hope that you will know you always have a home here at Old Ship, and wherever you go in a Unitarian Universalist church, wherever you might be, you will find yourself at home. The other gift is a blank journal, the same kind I've been using these days. It's a very cool blank journal, if I do say so. And it comes with a bookmark that's personal. I'll read, has your name, too, and it says, from First Parish in Hingham, Old Ship Church, Unitarian Universalist, June 2022. May you use the pages of this book to record and reflect on the story of your life. You have much to offer. We wish you many blessings. And you may not all be journal keepers. Some of you might be. You can draw in it or just have it. But we give these gifts with our love. So as I say your name, would you come forward and stay up here so everyone can see you all. We have 4 of our 5 seniors here today. So Keely Jordan. Where are you? There you are, Keely. And Jaden Lee, wherever you went. Congratulations, Keely. There you are, Jaden. Make sure I'm giving you the right one. Right over here, Jaden. Kapoori, Kate Luwak. Great to see you. Thank you for being here. And Lila Mercurio. And I think we all know how to congratulate these seniors. We hope that we here at Old Ship have enriched your lives to this point. We know that you will bless the world with your gifts. Thank you. Pizza after church, right outside. Parish House lawn, don't forget, be there, be square, as they say. Do you still say that? We used to say that. So many easy ways to date yourself, aren't there? We come to our time of offering. This month, our offering, they're all important, but this has special poignance. The May outreach offering has been to Outright LGBTQ Ukraine Emergency Fund. You may give to this fund online at our website, oldshipchurch.org. On the donate menu, you can give to the special plate collection for this month. Just got another week, I guess, for this. And you may also give to our ongoing Sunday plate offering to support all of our ministries. As you leave, you can leave that gift in the basket. You may also make that donation online. Thank you in advance for your generosity. All the way home, Heather Nolasco will sing.
Ancient anthems from
reading will be shared this morning by Paul Kelly. Thanks, Paul.
Our reading this morning is from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 25, verses 34 through 40. Then the king will say to those at his right hand, "Come, you are that blessed by my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. For I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you welcomed me. I was naked, and you gave me clothing. I was sick, and you took care of me. I was in prison, and you visited me." Then the righteous will answer him, "Lord, when was it that we saw you hungry and gave you food, or thirsty and gave you something to drink? And when was it that we saw you a stranger and welcomed you, or naked and gave you clothing? And when was it that we saw you sick or in prison and visited you?" And the king will answer them, "Truly, I tell you, just as you did it to one of the least of these who are members of my family, you did it to me." Here ends the reading.
Thank you, Paul. This next hymn, number 89, we have not often sung here, but in my home church where our family was first a member, we sang it all the time, and it's a lovely hymn, "Come, my way, my truth, my life," number 89. As some of you know, maybe a lot of you know, when I arrived, excuse me, when I arrived here at Old Ship in 1987, I discovered, thanks to genealogical research that my great aunt Helen had done years and years before, discovered that I was a direct descendant of Peter Hobart, our first minister. There's his name up on the plaque. Well, that's pretty cool. Now, he and his wife Elizabeth had many children, and no doubt there are now thousands of descendants. But I happen to be one of them, and it seems pretty cool indeed to be his successor as well as his descendant. But as the years passed, I've realized, and I should have had this thought right off the bat, that it's a mixed blessing. For Peter was not only a fine leader by all accounts of our early years of our congregation, courageous in certain ways, and so on. It was a challenging new world for them. But he was among those who had supplanted, to put it kindly and mildly, supplanted those who'd been on this land for generation after generation. His early talks, one in particular that we have, make it clear that his intentions were good, but his sense of divine calling was misplaced, to say the least. Divine calling to, as it turns out, take the land of those whose land this was home. So we survey a mixed history here in Hingham, as everywhere. That's what history always is, mixed. Here in Hingham, not only the initial land taking, but slavery is part of the story here in Hingham. White supremacy is part of the story here in Hingham. But history is always mixed, isn't it? Whether the history of our nation or the history of a congregation, our own personal history for that matter. And though we cannot change the past, we can change how we are in the present. We can learn from the past. We can learn and grow from the past and help to shape what we surely hope will be a better future for all, right? I believe that our congregation has strived to do this generation after generation, however imperfectly, including in this past generation that we've shared here, strived to behave in such ways, to speak and act in such ways that we might shape a better future. And though it's not even been 10% of the life of this congregation that I've been here, 35 years is a chunk of time in our human lifespans, right? It's half of my lifespan. It's twice about the lifespan of the young people this morning that we celebrate. So pondering all this, the other day I pulled out, I save things. That's both boon and bane, as a lot of you know. But I pulled out a directory on my desk drawer from 1988, an old ship directory. 1988. Some of you will remember that was the year that Mike Dukakis did not become the President of the United States. We may remember that that was the year before the Berlin Wall fell. That was a year that gas was going for about $1 a gallon. 1988. It was a while ago, as we measure human lives. Well, it was a moving experience to page through this directory and to see so many names of those who are no longer among us. Some had moved away, but many had died. In the early pages, there were the names of Catherine and Wilman Brewer. They've been members for a long time. In fact, they were already in their 90s or about to be. They have been married here in this meeting house in, wait for it, 1918. Right? That takes you back. Not too many years into my ministry, I've officiated at Catherine's memorial service and then Wilman's. They're buried right up here. That was just two of the almost 400 memorial services at which I've officiated for members and friends of our congregation, and sometimes for some of your dear ones. I'm looking at so many of you. And sometimes for folks who come from outside the congregation or had tangential relationship but no church of their own, they come here for whatever solace they can receive and healing in the midst of their grieving. And all of the lives of these almost 400 still echo in these beams. I can picture where many of the folks that I miss, still Catherine and Wilman Brewer over there, are sitting in their pew. No, that might be the Colby's pew, actually. Catherine and Wilman over there. Percy Lee, Ellen and Karcher Blazer back there. Alice and Ware Williams right up here. Alice sometimes nudging Ware to wake him up. There are so many more. I can't begin to name them all. I won't. But the pews are full with people I remember, so many of you remember. The pews are full, and it's a beautiful thing. And that we are here now, yes, with challenges in our congregation and the nation, that we are here now is because they were here then, along with some of you who've been along for that whole journey too. Because they were here then, following a dozen or so previous generations of folks in this congregation, in this place, and this congregation over the centuries, dedicated to the health and well-being of this congregation, dedicated because they believe that communities of faith and love such as ours can make a difference in the world. Believe that it mattered then and as it matters now. That we nourish our souls, nurture our spirits of kindness and love, inspire our hands to care for one another, inspire our hands for prophetic work of justice and peace. It mattered. It has always mattered that we keep the bright light of our faith shining for ourselves and for the wider world. Now, I can measure my years here in terms of numbers, those memorial services or the 500 weddings, or 300 or so child dedications, 1,000 sermons or so. I couldn't begin to count all the meetings and classes and so on. But numbers don't tell stories. Stories of families in mourning, stories of couples planning a wedding, or a parent preparing for a child dedication. Some of you kids were dedicated here. I remember those occasions. Or stories shared in coffee hour or in a class or in a counseling session in a time of crisis. And believe me, I feel the privilege and blessing of all this. Just as I feel the privilege to have been part of the larger story, as we all are, that we share of this First Parish in Hingham, Old Ship Church, Unitarian Universalist. However mixed the history, it's a privilege to be part of it. Now, as for my part in the story, when I arrived in 1987, we were poised for growth in numbers. The 1960s were a turbulent decade in our nation. They were turbulent here as well. Turbulent, ministers coming and going. I'm not going to tell those stories. Some of you know them. We're here. But my predecessor, Ken LaFleur, served for 13 years till 1985. He brought a calm presence and extraordinarily fine preaching. It was a healing time. And then two good interim ministries, John Luopa and Wayne Chatti. I was fortunate to arrive at such a time when we were poised. And just a year after Diane Elliott had arrived as our vibrant and creative Director of Religious Education, serving for 9 years. Together we rode and did our best to encourage the growth that did in fact occur during those more than 9 years as it continued. But these numbers, whether in pews or in religious education classes, again, don't tell the whole story of our or any church. When, for example, it comes to religious education, we know that we've done something right when we hear the inspiring faith statements that our coming-of-age youth share, as they will next week, our slightly younger youth than these high school graduates. They share their faith statements. We know what a gift to the world they're going to be. These dozens of people have come through that program over the past 2 or 3 decades. We know we've done something right when our shared work in the mid-1990s led us to become what we called at the time a congregation welcoming to lesbian, gay, and bisexual people. It was good in itself, but then it led to our activism on behalf of equal marriage rights. Such a beautiful thing, an important thing. And soon after legalization, we celebrated a dozen or so weddings right here, including, first of all, Mary and Abby, our dear Mary and Abby. We know we've done something right when we were able to generate the funds necessary to make this. We've always said everybody's welcome, but we raised money so that everyone could come regardless of physical ability or challenge. Historians will know we've done something right when they look back and say they raised through grants and gifts almost $1 million to restore this old house where plaster was about to fall, where the electrical system was dangerous, and we restored it. Historians will know we've done something right. Musicians will know we've done something right when they play the beautiful digital organ made possible by generous gifts to replace the old, deteriorating, and electrically dangerous instrument. Social justice activists will know we've done something right, not only to the welcoming, in regard to the welcoming congregation, but so much else as they read annual reports and see the evolution of our work, our service work, serving meals at Father Bill's, and our activism around anti-racism and climate change work, social justice, including our certification as a green sanctuary. And I truly hope and expect that people will look back in a generation or more and know we've done something right when they see that you have built a new parish house, zero carbon emissions that will have helped our congregation to grow into a new era. Am I suggesting that we've been perfect as a congregation through all these years? Of course not. Nothing's perfect. What does that mean anyway? There's no such thing as perfect. Did I rise to every occasion to speak for justice? Did I meet every pastoral need, every need of members of our congregation? Did we together make perfectly wise financial decisions along the way? No to all of those questions. Of course not. However much we might wish it were so. But did we always act with good faith and good intentions? Yes, I know you. I know all those who've gone before. Yes, of course, we did and do. Which brings me very close to a conclusion this morning, to the spirit of that reading from the gospel today. You may be wondering why I chose that one. Remember those words, and in that spirit, may we never doubt that when we act with kindness and a good heart for one another or out in the wider world, we are doing the work that we're meant to do. Call it God's work, call it simply the work of love. And every time we say that kind word or do the deed for justice or peace or help, that's when we've entered, right here on earth, what Jesus called the kingdom of heaven. One more brief personal word. As you know, and as I reaffirmed last week, my mantra from the very beginning of my ministry has been conversations about things that matter. Thank you. I'd worry if you didn't know that word at this point. And wherever and whenever those conversations happen, I know that such conversations here in our Old Ship congregation have enriched my life. I surely hope they've enriched yours. Nourished our souls, inspired our hands to help and heal and to do the work in the wider world of justice in this journey of interwoven sorrow and joy that we call life. I surely hope and trust it is so. It is a privilege, I'll use that word again, to have shared and share for a little while longer such conversations with you here, the dear people of First Parish, Old Ship Church. Thank you. Thank you. You'll hear that word a lot in the next few weeks. Amen, and blessed be. We conclude with a reading from Connie Gorfinkel. Come on up, Connie. Let me help you.
The reading is by Barbara Peskin. She's a reverend. Because of those who came before, we are. In spite of their failings, we believe. Because of and in spite of the horizons of their vision, we too dream. Let us remember to praise, to live in the moment, to love mightily, to bow to the mystery. Thank you.
Thank you, Connie. And with those words in Connie's spirit, I extinguish these flames, but not the love with which they were lit. And not the faith which, along with the love, we carry with us. We sing together again, Let It Be a Dance, number 311. this time in which we've shared joys and sorrows, in which we've celebrated. May we go out in the spirit of the dance, always sharing our love, our lives, our gifts, one with another. May it always be so. Amen, and blessed be. And I'll see the high school seniors and families across the street. The chairs are set up. The pizza will be here soon. So may it be.